good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today you're talking sports with NAS, and today we got some 76ers playoff expectations to talk about. So before we get into today's video, make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoyed today's content, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit the post notification bell so that way you don't miss any video. Also, comment down below your thoughts and opinions on today's video. And before we get into today's video, I would like to please ask you to make sure you tell all your friends, family, and favorite sports fans to subscribe to the channel, because we're on a road to 300 subscribers. We want to hit that as fast as we can. So I'd appreciate if you guys share out the channel and tell others to subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's get into some Sixers talk, man. We got the Sixers playoff expectations. We're a few weeks away from the NBA playoffs, and I want to talk about, my expectations for the Sixers in the playoffs, because we got a playoff seed clinched now, so I'm open and I'm free to talk about our playoff expectations. So let's start off by talking about the bench first. And this is honestly going to be one of my favorite parts of the video, because the bench has been a little up and down this season, and I know Sixers fans watching this are really eager to see how I feel about the bench, man. Especially guys like Furkan Korkmaz has been up and down, Shake Milton. And speaking of Shake Milton, man, I expect him to be our main scorer off the bench, man. I think he's gonna he's not gonna average like 20 or 25 points. Might not even average like 18 or 17. Maybe like 14 or 15 is where I want Shake Milton. But what I expect, maybe like 13 points a game in the playoffs for Shake Milton. Maybe 14, 15 at the highest is what I expect from him. I think he's gonna be the main scoring option off the bench, man. And I think he's gonna be the guy that Doc Rivers looks to and be like, look, we need some scoring off the bench. You need to come and get us some buckets. And that's going to help with the next guy I'm going to talk about off the bench is George Hill. I think George Hill is going to teach Shake Milton, with his veteran experience of being a sixth man in certain situations, of how to be a true sixth man, how to be the main scorer off the bench. And I think that's what's so key for George Hill being on the team, is him experience being a starting point guard in playoff games and being a point guard off the bench is going to only help Shake Milton as a point guard off the bench, as a shooting guard off the bench, just as a guard in general off the bench. And I expect some veteran leadership off the bench from Mr. George Hill. I expect the same for Dwight Howard, just some veteran leadership off the bench, defensive intensity, blocking shots and catching lobs. You already know what Dwight Howard does, especially at this point in his career. Just doing basically kind of what he did for the Lakers last year, man. Just played his role, man. Just played his role as a good defender and catching lobs. And that's what I expect. I expect Furkan Korkmaz to be our main three-point shooter off the bench. He is, I believe, our best three-point shooter off the bench, three-point percentage-wise. I don't know. It might be him or George Hill. You can correct me on that if you know. But Furkan Korkmaz, man, he's been a little up and down this season, but lately he's been playing a little bit better than he was the first 4 months of the season. And that's great. That's a great sign, man, because we're going to need Korkmaz to hit some threes off the bench, man. It was a stretch like a week or 2 weeks ago where Furkan Korkmaz was averaging 16 points per game throughout a 4-game span. And if we can get that in a first round, a 4-game series, and Furkan Korkmaz averaging that, I'm completely fine with that, man. If he can average just around 10 points per game, 2 or 3 three-pointers a game, that's what I expect from Korkmaz, man. And Matisse Thybulle, I expect him to be everywhere, flying on the defensive end, getting steals, getting blocks, locking down the opposing team's guard, man. And that's what I expect from guys off the bench. I expect Tobias Harris to be our X factor, man. I expect him to be the X factor. I expect him to be the guy, other than Embiid and Simmons, to really just step up, man. I expect him to be our number 2 scoring option at times in the NBA playoffs. I expect Tobias Harris to average 18 to 20 points in the playoffs. Now, I know that's a lot. I don't believe he averaged 20 points in the playoffs before, but I think this is the time he's doing it, and he's improved so much from last year to this year. He's at his best with Doc Rivers, and that's what I expect. I expect Seth Curry and Danny Green to kind of do similar things. Just be shooters, man. Be the shooters. Be our snipers, man. Seth Curry, like Stephen A. always says, his name is a Curry, so he can shoot the ball. And that's what I expect from Seth Curry. I expect him to be a great shooter for us in our starting lineup. And I expect him to take a lot of three-point shots, because as Joel Embiid gets double teamed, as the defensive game plan on Tobias Harris starts to keys in, as the opposing defenders try to take defenders and defend Ben Simmons how he should be defended, I expect Seth Seth Curry to be the guy who's going to have a lot of open looks. And that goes to my next point of Ben Simmons, who is going to be our main passer, our floor facilitator. He has the highest IQ in the team, one of the highest IQs in the whole NBA. He's going to be the guy that's going to get Seth Curry those open shots with his IQ, with his playmaking ability. And I expect Ben Simmons to get guys involved offensively. And actually, I expect the best Ben Simmons in the playoffs than we've seen all year. I expect him to be aggressive when he needs to be, use his size when he needs to, use his playmaking, the IQ when he needs to, and I expect lockdown defense from Ben Simmons. I expect nothing less but lockdown defense from Ben Simmons. And then Joel Embiid. I mean, I expect pure dominance inside the paint, man. I think he's going to average around 18 points inside the paint in the playoffs because teams are too small to guard him. I'm talking about specifically the Brooklyn Nets. They don't have the size to guard Joel Embiid, especially against the Nets, man. I expect them to average 18 points in the paint against, honestly, any team because I really think he's just unguardable at the center position, to be completely honest with you. And I expect him, man, to be a good mid-range shooter like he always is and be an above-average three-point shooter. That's why I expect him to average 35% from the three. I expect him to be a great mid-range shooter like he's shown at times, use his post fadeaways, use his post moves inside the mid-range, and then I expect him to dominate in the paint. And when he's struggling shooting the ball, one thing I love about Joel Embiid, man, when he's struggling to shoot the ball, he's so dominant in the paint that he just creates fouls. He creates free throws, so he's affecting the game in some kind of way on no matter what, man. And I expect him to be dominant. If he's struggling shooting the ball, he's going to get to that foul line. He's going to get some points on this team somehow, some way. I expect pure dominance, and I expect him to be a 35-point per game scorer in the playoffs, man. I know that's a high ceiling. Actually, no, I don't expect him to be 35. I think I'm expecting him to be a 30-point per game scorer in the playoffs because I do think he might have one or two games where his shot's just not going in. But usually, Joel Embiid, I think he's going to average 30 points per game this season. And last year in the playoffs, even though we only played 4 games because he got swept, he averaged 30 points per game last time we were in the playoffs. So, and he got better from this year to last year. So I expect him to average around 30 to 33, 35 points per game at the most, man. I expect as a team, I expect us to make an Eastern Conference Finals appearance, and I expect us to make that series 7 games. No matter if we win or we lose, I expect a 7-game series, Eastern Conference Finals, man. I expect us to make it very, very deep in the playoffs, and if we make the finals, I want to get that championship, man. What fan doesn't want a championship? But I expect the Sixers to make the Eastern Conference Finals. Y'all already know what I expect our players to do. So, man, that's just my expectations. If you're a Sixers fan, drop your expectations down below in the comment section. Or if you're a fan of your team, what do you expect your team and your star players and your bench players to do? Make sure you guys do that all down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We almost at 300, so make sure you tell everyone, all your family, your friends, and sports fans who aren't subscribed to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys like the video. We're going to have a lot of Sixers playoff videos coming because I am a Sixers fan, obviously. Make sure you guys hit the comment section, like, comment, subscribe, notification bell so you don't miss anything. Until next time, it's your boy NAS, and I'm out. Peace.